By age 7, he was composing. By 8, performing for the aristocracy of Warsaw. By 20, he left his homeland and never set foot in it again. By 39, he was gone. Frédéric Chopin wrote almost exclusively for a single instrument, the piano, and in doing so, redefined what that instrument could say. Nearly 230 works, most of them just a few minutes long, carrying more emotional weight than symphonies 10 times their length. And yet his life was marked by permanent exile, fragile health that shadowed him from childhood, and a decade-long relationship that both fueled and nearly destroyed him. So here's the question. Was Chopin's genius simply a gift for melody? Or was it wired into the very fabric of who he was, an energetic blueprint running beneath the surface of everything he did? Today, we explore Chopin's life through the lens of human design, a modern framework that maps how each of us is built to generate, respond to, and interact with the world. Chopin never knew this system, but his life practically wrote the textbook. So what is human design? It's a synthesis of ancient and modern wisdom and quantum physics combined into a single chart that maps your energetic architecture. It shows your type, your inner authority, your defined and undefined centers, and the channels and gates that make you uniquely, irreducibly you. Chopin was born on the 1st of March, 1810, in the small village of Zielosowa Wola, outside Warsaw, though even his birth date carries some historical debate, with his baptismal record listing February 22nd instead. His birth time has been cited at approximately 6 p.m., based on his father's own record, though as with much of Chopin's early life, the documentation is incomplete. Using this data, human design practitioners have most often identified Chopin as a manifesting generator, commonly cited with a 4-6 profile and emotional authority. Let's unpack that. Manifesting generators, often called MGs, are the most dynamic type in human design. They carry the raw, sustainable life force energy of a generator and the initiating power of a manifester. They're built to move fast and create relentlessly. Their strategy is to wait, to respond, to let life bring the cue, then unleash. Their signature feeling when aligned? Satisfaction. Their not self shadow when misaligned? Frustration and anger. Chopin's profile, the 4-6, is often described as the opportunist and the role model. The fourth line builds its life and its opportunities through close, trusted relationships. It doesn't chase strangers. It deepens the circle it already has. The sixth line lives in 3 stages: decades of trial and experimentation, a period of withdrawal and observation, and finally, if it survives that long, a life lived as a kind of living example for others. And with emotional authority, Chopin wasn't built to know anything in the moment. His clarity about people, about decisions, about where to plant his life could only arrive after riding out the full wave of feeling, which, as we'll see, may explain more about his life than any single biographical fact. The town of Zielosowa Wola. The year is 1810. Frédéric František Chopin enters the world as the son of Nicholas Chopin, a French-born tutor working for Polish nobility, and Justyna Krzyżanowska, a woman of modest means with a talent for piano and singing herself. The family soon moved to Warsaw, where Nicholas took a teaching post and the household filled with music, language, and the children of the aristocracy who came through for lessons. By age 6, young Frédéric was picking out melodies. By 7, he'd composed his first pieces, a pair of polonaises. By 8, he was performing publicly, already being called, half jokingly and half seriously, the next Mozart. Through a human design lens, what was happening here? Chopin's sacral center, the engine at the core of a generator or manifesting generator, was responding constantly. He wasn't groomed into music the way some prodigies are. By every account, he reached for the keyboard himself, imitating what he heard before anyone formally taught him. That's sacral response. That's the MG blueprint switching on early. But here's where the fourth line comes in. Chopin didn't grow up performing for strangers in public halls. He grew up in salons, in the homes of Warsaw's noble families, playing for people who already knew him, who'd already invited him in. His entire career, from childhood onward, would be built this way, not through open competition or public spectacle, but through relationships, patrons, students, close friends who opened doors one at a time. That is the fourth line's opportunity structure, and it started before he could have known it. His likely undefined head in ajna centers would have meant he was porous to the ideas and pressures of everyone around him, a sensitive, absorbing mind rather than a fixed one. Combined with an emotional authority he had no framework for understanding, young Chopin may have felt his feelings arrive in waves he couldn't yet explain, only feel. He was, by every account, a delicate child, frequently ill, prone to fevers, already showing signs of the fragility that would follow him his entire life. By his mid-teens, Chopin was already Warsaw's most celebrated young musician, but Warsaw itself was becoming too small and too unstable to hold him. In 1826, he enrolled at the Warsaw Conservatory. By 1829, he was giving concerts in Vienna to real acclaim, and on November 2nd, 1830, barely 20 years old, he boarded a coach out of Warsaw, headed for Vienna and eventually Paris. 3 weeks later, the November uprising broke out. Polish officers rose up against Russian rule, and Warsaw became a battlefield. Chopin was not there for it. He would spend the rest of his life not being there for it. This is the 4-6 profile's hardest lesson, arriving far too early. The sixth line's trial and error decades are supposed to happen with room to fail and try again. Chopin's instead came with the door to home locked permanently behind him. Poland fell to Russian control. Chopin, now stateless in every meaningful sense, would live the rest of his life as an exile, composing mazurkas and polonaises, Polish folk forms from a country he could never return to. For someone with emotional authority, a decision this size, made under this much external pressure, without time to let clarity settle, that's about as destabilizing as it gets. Chopin didn't choose exile through his own emotional wave, reaching resolution. History made the choice for him. Paris, 1831. And almost immediately, Chopin's design clicked into place. He wasn't built for the concert hall spectacle that defined a contemporary. Like Liszt, he gave only a handful of public performances in his entire life. Instead, he built a career exactly the way a fourth line is built to. Through the salon, through wealthy students who paid extraordinarily well for private lessons, through the tight, aristocratic, and artistic circles of Paris, who passed his name from one drawing room to the next. He didn't chase Paris. Paris gradually came to him. In 1836, he was introduced to Amandine Lucille Aurore Dupin, better known by her pen name, George Sand. Their relationship, beginning around 1837 or 1838, would last roughly a decade. The longest and most consuming attachment of Chopin's life for an emotional authority, this is exactly the kind of bond that both feeds and floods the system. Sand was famously decisive, unconventional, magnetic, everything Chopin's own decision-making process was not. Their winter together on the island of Majorca in 1838 and 1839 meant to improve his health, instead nearly broke it. Cold, damp conditions worsened his chronic illness. And yet it was there that he composed much of his 24 preludes, a set of miniature emotional worlds, each one barely a few minutes long, each one seemingly a direct transcription of a feeling passing through him in real time. Between the mid-1830s and mid-1840s, in the relative stability sand provided, Chopin produced the bulk of what we now consider his defining work. The ballades, the scherzos, the mature nocturnes, the Polonaise fantaisie, sonatas that pushed the piano into territory it hadn't been asked to go before. This was Chopin fully inhabiting his design building through relationship, responding rather than chasing, letting the sacral engine run inside a container his fourth line had personally built and trusted. But the manifesting generator's shadow is this. When the body carrying the energy is already fragile, the frustration of a life spent absorbing everyone else's pressure has nowhere left to go but inward. In 1847, after nearly a decade together, Chopin and Sand separated. The details remained disputed, tangled up with Sand's children and Chopin's own withdrawal. For a fourth line built entirely around trusted inner circles, losing the central relationship of his adult life didn't just end a romance. It removed the very structure his career and his health had quietly depended on. His tuberculosis, a condition that had shadowed him since childhood and worsened for years, accelerated. In 1848, with revolution again sweeping Europe, he traveled to England and Scotland for a grueling tour of concerts and society engagements, pushing a failing body through obligations he likely felt he couldn't refuse. The sixth line's final stage, the role model phase, is supposed to arrive as hard-won wisdom offered from a place of rest. Chopin arrived at it instead, still working, still performing, still giving lessons for income almost until the end. He returned to Paris exhausted and gravely ill. He died on the 17th of October, 1849. He was 39 years old. At his request, his heart was removed and later sealed inside a pillar of Holy Cross Church in Warsaw, the homeland his body was never allowed to return to in life. So what do we make of it all? Frédéric Chopin lived 39 years. In that time, he composed nearly 230 works, almost entirely for a single instrument that permanently expanded what the piano was capable of expressing. His music has never left the standard repertoire in nearly 2 centuries, and he did it, largely, without ever setting foot in the country that shaped him. Imagine what was possible when he was aligned. Paris, roughly 1836 to 1846, building through trusted relationship, composing from emotional authority once the wave had settled, living his fourth line the way it was designed to be lived. That decade produced work that still stops audiences cold nearly 200 years later. And then imagine what more might have been possible had he understood his design. Had he known that his need to wait for emotional clarity, for trusted invitation, for the right relationship before the right decision, wasn't indecision, it was the method. Had he known that pushing a failing sacral engine through obligation right up until collapse was the shadow his design had been warning him about the entire time. This is what human design calls quantum sovereignty, the conscious, deliberate choice to live from your authentic blueprint rather than the conditioned programming of family, circumstance, and expectation. Chopin didn't know human design. He didn't have a quantum sovereignty framework. He didn't know he was a manifesting generator with emotional authority who needed to wait for the wave to settle, trust the circle he'd already built, and stop pushing a fragile body past what it could sustainably give. He just lived quietly, devastatingly, magnificently. But here's what his story offers us. Proof that when human beings operate even partially in alignment with their innate blueprint, however accidentally, they produce something extraordinary, something that lasts. Now ask yourself, what might be possible if you understood your design consciously, not in hindsight like Chopin's story, but right now, in real time, with your whole life still ahead of you? If Chopin's unconscious alignment could give the world the preludes, the ballades, and the Polonaise fantaisie, what can your conscious alignment give the world? world. We're building this out one historical genius at a time. Subscribe if you want to come along for the rest of them. Thank you for watching. And remember, you are not here by accident. You are here by design.